We are back from the Princess Half Marathon. As you can see, Katie ran it as part of the Fairy Tale Challenge, and I did just the half marathon.
Yes, and it was the 10th anniversary of the half marathon portion and the 5th anniversary of the Fairy Tale Challenge, formerly known as the Glass Slipper Challenge.
Yeah, and you could definitely tell that the crowds were much larger because of that reason. Well, this is already a popular race to begin with, but anytime there's an anniversary involved, I feel like the crowd's almost double.
Yes, our corral had somewhere between 9,000 to 10,000 people in it, just in our corral.
Single corral. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a little crazy. They're doing the mini waves for these races again, so that's here to stay for a little bit of time, so get used to that. The nice thing was that out in the DJ area before you start the race, they actually had 7 or 8 different princesses out, and I thought that was a nice touch. The lines were well organized and moving efficiently. We waited only like 20 minutes.
Extremely reasonable compared to other character meet and greets. The race started on time, which is great because I know we've had a little bit of problems in the past with traffic getting in. They definitely put out some traffic advisories beforehand. Everybody got there on time. Many waves were sent out very fast, sometimes only between 30 and 60 seconds between waves, so I didn't have any complaints there.
Yeah, there were a ton of waves. We actually were hearing the fireworks still when we were at least out a mile out on the course, which was pretty interesting because I don't know if they've been that far behind us in the past, but they did a lot of mini waves.
Yes.
And the weather was great for that first mile. Woo!
Yes.
And then it went a little bit downhill with the heat. Mr. Sun came out.
Yeah, no, it got very hot, very humid. At a certain point on the course, you saw they were handing out wet sponges, which is something that doesn't often happen.
Yeah.
We saw a couple people have to go down for med reasons because it was just way too hot and people weren't prepared for it, especially from up north.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, I drink a lot of water on the course, and we're used to this, and if we're saying it's hot, it was hot. And it was unseasonably hot for February. That was the problem. People aren't used to it being this hot for this race. People are used to it for other races. This race is typically nice weather. The characters on the course, a little lackluster. There were some huge gaps, which was a little unusual. And we just ran the half marathon course, which is the same in January, and it seemed like entertainment was in different places, which was unusual.
Yeah, there was definitely less characters and less entertainment. Like, there's usually some stilt walkers, usually some other stuff. And there were stilt walkers in the 10K. You can see Katie's video, and you can definitely see that there was a little bit more entertainment, definitely, during the 10K than the half marathon. So that was a little bit upsetting. But then, coupled with that, the PhotoPass kind of dropped the ball on this race, which we haven't said in the past. We've loved since PhotoPass has taken over from Marathon Photo. They've done a fabulous job. They take great photos, and they're generally pretty fast about it. But this race, we passed about 3 spots where they were either fiddling with their cameras or just not taking pictures.
Yeah, or they were waving people along. Go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead where?
We were running. It wasn't like we were stopped. Sometimes we've seen that happen when people stop in front of the cameras, but that wasn't the case. But the biggest point was in front of the castle. You know, you run through the castle. It's a big part of the Princess Half Marathon, and they have PhotoPass. They usually have 3 or 4 right there. There's only 2, and both of them were stopped, turned around, doing something with their cameras. I'm sure there's technical glitches, but there seemed to be a lot.
Yeah, well, and then we found out from some of our friends who were spectating that a manager came and kind of hustled the PhotoPass off that they're on like that little castle stage area. I think a lot of people didn't get the castle photo. They had photographers at the bottom of the castle where you could queue up and take like a stationary photo. And as soon as the 2 photographers left by the castle, those lines were outrageous. I mean, we gave up. We were like, whatever. And we did get one photo kind of exiting that castle. You can kind of see it in the background. Yeah. It's cool. And there was a good photographer placed in Tomorrowland where they were shooting to get the castle in the background. So we did get some castle photos.
Right.
I'll take it, I guess.
Right.
And then when I ran the 10K on Saturday, one of my highlights of the race was running under one of the overpasses, and Merida was up there cheering us on and telling us to be brave during our race. We didn't see Snow White at this race. In fact, Fairy Godmother was the one who counted us off, you know, from Cinderella. And it was a Snow White race, so Snow White, where were you?
A little odd.
We missed you.
Even if Snow White wasn't there, I expected to see at least some dwarves. I don't know if Dopey was out. I know Dopey was out for the 10K. I'm not sure if he was out for the half.
Yeah, we didn't see him when we ran past, so.
Interesting. Honestly, it was a little bit disappointing, all in all. This is probably one of our least favorite Run Disney races, and that's saying something, including the marathon weekend, which is a little bit lackluster in itself.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit way too congested. In the Cone Alley outside of the Magic Kingdom, and definitely in a lot of places you couldn't run. We couldn't run. We wanted to run. We had the stamina. We had the gas. and we couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, when we got back in the car after the race, our shoes and our ankles were filthy because we had actually run in the grass so often. People were not just walking sticks across, people were just leisurely strolling as a pack. Like 100 people were walking in a block. And so if you wanted to run, you had to run in the grass, and we're not trail runners, we're not trained for that, our ankles aren't ready for that. That's risky, and we don't want to risk injury.
Definitely not. And we know that there's a lot of great Central Florida races that happen around the same time. Gasparilla Distance Classic also happens in Tampa during this weekend. And so we are considering doing that next weekend, or next year, I'm sorry, and just doing the Princess 10K, which was a great race. You can see Katie's review of that below. We'll link that below. But we're going to take a look at our options for next year.
Yeah, maybe a little princess and pirate themed weekend. That could be fun.
Yeah. If you have any questions or if you ran this race and have any comments, go ahead and drop those below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.